Hey guys, welcome back to KCF Conversations. Today I am joined by Michelle Knott. Thank you for joining us.
Absolutely. Glad to be here.
So Michelle, you're still sort of a newbie here, right? How long have you been with us at Kitsap CrossFit?
Actually, I this month I just hit my 1 year.
1 year.
So
That's
my
awesome.
CrossFit journey started at 42.
At 42.
At
Yeah,
42.
nice. It's funny how quickly time flies by. I always look at like, you've been here 2 months, right? And they're like, no, Dan, I've actually been here 3 years. I'm like, oh my gosh, time just flies by. So a year already.
Here.
Congratulations.
Yeah.
Okay, well, it's funny because you came in and it seemed like you knew everybody already when you came in, right? But there are some folks who probably don't know your story. So tell us a little bit about your athletic background.
Awesome. So my athletic background, my dad played. First of all, my dad played college for University of Washington Huskies.
Okay.
So it's in the family blood that instilled in me the drive to play at the Division One level, and played at University of Florida, goalkeeper,
Okay.
and had the opportunity to be on amazing teams, and ended up winning the national championship NCAA national title with the Gators back in '98.
Okay.
So high level, great athletics has been a part of my entire life.
Okay. So you played 4 years at the University of Florida. Played soccer, and what did you do after that? How did you stay active? Did you continue playing soccer, or what did you do?
It's an interesting question. Great question. And most people would look and be like, how did you not get into CrossFit sooner?
Right.
For me and my story, I think playing at that intense level for so many years, after I finished college and got married, have 4 kids, I there was a negative aspect of competing that I was fighting within, and I stayed healthy by doing my own workouts, running. My body didn't quite like that.
Yeah.
Came up with my own workouts, and to be honest, I was fearful to get into CrossFit because I was afraid that it would awaken my inner beast. There's a part of me that loves the intense workout. My body doesn't do well. Wasn't appreciative of my journey of the intense workouts for so many years.
Okay. So, okay. Well, I don't want to get too far ahead yet. So, you did your own workouts. Kind of, you
Yeah.
stayed active. You
Stayed
weren't.
active.
You played some soccer, right?
I
Like sort
did.
of like here and there.
Played soccer, got into coaching,
Okay.
super active. I would say, on average, working out 5 times a week,
Okay.
just by running, swimming. Kind of call myself a little bit of a free bird,
Uh-huh.
like just doing whatever to stay active.
Got it. And then when did you get involved in yoga?
So I did not get involved with yoga. I kind of dabbled in it for a little bit here and there. We moved out here in 2010, so dabbled in it here and there, but really didn't get into yoga until after my first major injury, my neck injury.
Okay.
And I landed in yoga because I realized I had been running literally and figuratively away from life and away from some things, and I was using athletics as an outlet. And it wasn't until I went to yoga that I realized kind of some of those deeper lying
Okay.
things under there.
Do you mind sharing what that injury was?
Yeah. So my first injury, age 39, came herniated disc in my neck.
Okay.
Hit me blindsided. No specific trauma or injury. It was just years of wear and tear.
Uh-huh.
Really blindsided me, and it was a humbling. Athletics for the first time in my life was taken away. It hurt to even go for a walk.
Okay.
I couldn't do normal household chores. It was the first time I had experienced nerve pain, and nerve pain is a beast of its own.
Right.
Out of all my athletic injuries, nothing compared to this new nerve pain that I was experiencing. And for my story, nothing helped to alleviate that 24-hour pain, and found myself months after that having my first of 2 neck surgeries to place a disc in my neck.
How long ago was that?
So in 2016
Okay.
was my first one, June
Got it.
2016, and less than 2 years later, I found myself back into having another one.
Okay. Was there a trigger for the second
So
issue?
I love sharing this part of the story because I think it's common. And after my first surgery, being the competitive athlete, got out of surgery and I immediately put on my Superwoman cape and tried to really come back kid and come back fast, come back hard, and all of a sudden I found myself resorting back to all of those natural tendencies that I was good at: competing, comparing, pleasing, this world that I consider unhealthy. And there's definitely healthy aspects to it, but the unhealthy aspect. And I rushed back too fast. I had even visions of this article of the comeback kid, and I wanted to just run a marathon. I mean, I had big dreams, and I was looking back through pictures, and within 3 weeks of my surgery, here I have a titanium disc in my neck, and I was back running. I didn't quite learn my lesson that my body was wanting some transition. And
That was after the first surgery.
that was after the first one. So after the first one, came back too fast. Got back into coaching, found myself going back too fast, not rehabbing. And my body didn't like that. And within less than 2 years, my disc underneath it blew and herniated and sent me, lost a lot of feeling in my hand, lost a lot of mobility, nerve damage, and found myself in having another. So now I have the opportunity to have 2 titanium discs, one on top of each other, that I really consider a gift. It helped to transform my life.
Okay. So the second surgery was when?
Second surgery was June 2018.
June 2018. This is December of 2019. So that means you started CrossFit in December of 2018, just 6 months after your surgery.
6 months after my second surgery.
So this is very interesting. So you felt like you rushed back into a competitive environment too soon after your first surgery. And then 6 months after your second surgery, you started doing CrossFit.
Yes.
So how did that journey happen? Because a lot of people would say, well, one thing you can't do is CrossFit, right? Because it's super competitive, it's super aggressive, it's really intense. You obviously can't do CrossFit because you've had 2 neck surgeries and your body doesn't respond well to high intensity and competition. So given that information, like, what drew you to this? What was the trigger to have you come in here?
Let's see. You know, when I went through my first procedure, a part of me died. And I say that not, and I don't know really how to articulate it other than a part of me died. And what I came to realize after my second procedure and then going into yoga and spending a lot of stillness and quiet on through yoga in a gentle practice, I recognized and realized my innate being is, my true self is a competitive. Mm-hmm. And there's a lot of beauty to that. And when I saw, when it was taken away, which was really my identity, I put everything in that and wanted to learn lessons through that. And I was able to see that in order for me to be completely whole, I needed to surround myself in an intense environment, but a healthy. So to come back full circle and to come into the CrossFit world, but with a whole new, renewed, transformed perspective of, I have this craving, passionate desire to be strong, and in this environment, a world, but in a healthy way.
Okay.
And some people say that's oxymorphal. How can you're paradoxical. How can you be intense and yet calm? And the only way I can describe it is having that wholeness, that balance of strength and stillness. And it's possible.
Right.
It's totally possible. And for me, coming up with my own workouts and running and doing all that wasn't good for me. A better whole person being in a group around people that are like-minded and really having that intense workout, but balancing it out with that yoga stillness as well.
So there are a lot of things that we do here that are, I mean, they're challenging for someone who has never had any injury, How are you able to manage some of the limitations that you have due to the neck, the surgeries that you had, and the hardware that you have? I mean, certainly there's some limitations, right? And how are you able to manage those?
Yeah, that's a great question. Modify,
Okay.
scaling. And it's interesting because I think in my previous life, I would have looked at scaling as a weakness.
Okay.
And now I look at scaling as something creative. Learning the balance of what and where I can go, knowing my limits. And I know when we were doing personal training, that's a big part of my story is I started off slow.
Right.
I started off slow. We started one-on-one training.
Yeah.
And we had tears. For me, it was a lot of facing fears. It was so much more than just physical. And to go slow and go one-on-one training and then learning what movements my body just can't do.
Yeah.
And then not fighting it.
Right.
And I think the motto that has really stuck with me here and in life is everything's a get to, not a have to.
Right.
So for the first time, I was at CrossFit, but I was here because of me. I wasn't for a coach or other people telling me I had to. I was here because I wanted to.
Right. Yeah, I think something you talked about is really important is this idea of there's a lot of trial and error. Yeah. When we're working with someone who has had an injury or is dealing with an injury, there are a lot of things that obviously we know are going to be some limitations, but there's also a lot of things that you can do. And we don't truly know what all of those things are until we kind of dabble just a little bit. We try it and see how you respond. Oftentimes you responded well and we're like, good, that's something that we can do. A couple of times we're like, okay, we'll not do that again, right? But there is that necessary trial and error. And I think, the way that you came in doing personal training where it was definitely a more controlled environment was a great entry point for you. Yeah. For me, a lot of it was also not just about teaching you the movements, but helping you develop that self-confidence that you could go into the group classes. Because for me, honestly, the first couple of classes, I'm like, we don't need to do this for very long. And then you could go to the group classes. But I knew that you still needed to have that self-confidence nurtured of, is this okay for me to do?
Yeah, there was a lot of fear.
Yeah,
there was a lot of
sure.
fear, and it was so much bigger. And, the word that stands out is alignment.
Yeah.
And I think my intention in coming out slow and what I needed is that confidence of the alignment and the intention of the body mechanics. I had just come off of traumatic injury and often hear of people getting injured through CrossFit. So I was very hesitant and wanted to be intentional with movements.
Right.
And there was so many times where you definitely pushed me to my edge, and I was able to see and rest in it and see that it was okay.
Right.
And that I could do these movements again.
Yeah.
So there was it was really emotional.
Yeah.
But for me, I needed that. Worth every penny to me. The personal training was priceless and a necessary component for me to go. I think it actually got to the point where you kicked me out.
Sort of, yeah, sort of.
Like, get out.
Not that I didn't enjoy working with you, but I knew what you were capable of, and I knew what you were ready. And I knew that the only way you could continue to grow in the process would be to take that next step. Like, I could have continued to challenge you and give you harder workouts, but your growth was going to come from graduating from the private training scenario to the group training environment, right? And I think something else that you mentioned there is that's really important is that, I took you right to the edge. One of the beliefs that we have in CrossFit is that the way you get better is you have to push to the limits of your physical and psychological tolerance. Is that if you always stay within your comfort zone, you'll never grow. And so my job and the job of our coaches is to take you and push you to the edge of your comfort zone and even get you to step beyond it just a little bit, because that's where the real growth happens. And, most of the time you were willing to do that.
Yeah.
So that was good. Yeah. So how are things feeling now? So now you've been in group classes for quite a few months now. And how's that process going for you?
I could not be happier. I feel alive again. I feel I'm clicking on all cylinders, and it is a full component integration of so many things. But I tell you what, being in a community that's like-minded, I can't tell you how many times in the group classes I've had either a coach or another friend tell me, hey, your neck is out here a little bit in correct alignment, and it's just safe.
Right.
I don't feel like I've got to compete, and that to me, which was one of my biggest fears and coming into, was I don't have to compete. Yeah. And I've got people around me that are looking after me. I can't tell you, it actually brings tears to my eyes to know that the coaches and people around me care enough about me and just wanted me to be healthy.
Yeah.
And so that to me is priceless.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Well, we're, delighted to have you here as a member. I mean, you've been, you come in and you're just beaming and happy and excited. So it's been cool to really, really, to watch your progress over the last year.
I know.
It's kind of crazy how time flies. Yeah. Well, thanks for joining us. If you'd like to, if you have injuries or if you have any limitations and you're thinking that maybe CrossFit isn't quite for you, I'd really ask you to just think about Michelle's story. I don't think anyone would say to someone, you're out of your mind if you say that you can't do CrossFit because of those types of injuries. But I think Michelle is obviously a testament to the fact that this program really can be designed and tailored to meet anyone's needs. And so I want to say congratulations to you for your hitting the 1 year mark, and we're happy to have you part of our community.
Thanks, Dan.
Absolutely.
Really appreciate it.
Absolutely.